Good evening, family. Welcome to another edition of Thorough Black Talk with your sister Keisha, your brother Tad, and your brother Ashe SJ, along with our brother Blacksmith, who will be joining us shortly as we wait for our brothers to get up in here tonight. I hope each and every one of you had a great week thus far. I hope you are all in the best of health, and if not, trying to get there, both physically and mentally, because it's a lot of craziness and shenanigans going on. And we're going to discuss it all, how we do right here on Thorough Black Talk Worldview. So, we're going to continue what we were discussing last week. You know, this is the last day of Women's History Month, Black Women's History Month. And we're going to continue from last week. We still got a lot to discuss. So I can't wait to get into all of that. Tonight's highlight is one of the wives of W.E.B. Dubois, his second wife, Shirley. So we're going to deal with Miss Shirley tonight. Of course, both of his wives were a force to be reckoned with. They were both great activists in their own right. In fact, the great Dr. Gerald Horne wrote a brilliant piece. The name of his book, I believe, is called Race Woman, by Dr. Gerald Horne. It's about Shirley Graham Dubois. So if you can, in your own time, pick that up, and I guarantee you, you will not be disappointed. It is very, very important, excuse me, that we talk about our queens who did great work for our people. Also, his first wife, Nina Goma Dubois, she was a civil rights activist. She met her husband, you know, while she was in school, I believe. She was a student of his. So we're going to talk about Miss Shirley Dubois tonight, along with some great others. It was something about Amy Ashwood Garvey that I wanted to highlight last week, but we, of course, ran out of time, and I didn't get a chance to show you the video of historians discussing how Amy Ashwood Garvey actually took a bullet for Marcus in their inception. So we want to highlight that video tonight. I see we got our brother Tad back on the check-in. What's good with your brother Tad? How you feeling? What's good? Uh-oh. He trying to work it out in the
Oh man, I
background.
feel a lot better. I feel so.
Uh-oh.
I
You
ain't hear you,
messing with my
sis.
brother? There you go. There you go.
Already,
You
right?
back.
Yeah,
That's because you've been starting a lot of trouble on social media.
yeah, right. Look. I feel good again. I'm back to my old self, you know. So I'm ready for all the troublemakers and the rabble rousers, you know. I hope they don't think I
Uh-oh.
just been sitting around crying and boohooing. I
Uh-oh.
still been reading this for whatever it is, you know.
Yes, indeed, brother. It's great to have you back, have you black,
Uh,
better than ever.
It
Tonight is
feels
our
good.
anniversary. Um, six
Yes, you
years ago.
reminded me. I'm like, oh wow, 6 years. Wow, time flies when you're having fun.
Yes, indeed. I didn't actually realize it until late in the day. And I'm like, oh, snap, it's our anniversary. In 2016, me and Brother Tad kicked this off. Um,
Yes,
you know, without knowing how to do this. Um,
word. We
not
learned as we
knowing.
went along.
Yes, we did, and we still learning.
That's a fact. That is a Black history fact.
But it's
But I
great
tell you,
to have
it
you
feels
back,
so good
brother.
to be back. Sis. It feels good to be back. You know. Some may know I lost my mother, but then the day before Thanksgiving, I lost my cousin.
Uh-oh. I think we losing Brother Tad here. Let me see. Maybe he could go out and come back in, and we'll get this kicking off the right way. Um, So we'll wait when Brother Tag gets all the kinks out. But let me give some shout outs real quick. Sister Joyce, Brother Monty on the check-in. How y'all doing? How y'all feeling, Black family? Good to be back
Okay.
with you. Yeah, there you go. He's back in full effect.
Yeah, you know what it is? It is, since I have two internets, it's trying to connect to the house internet and my hotspot on my cell phone. So it's vacillating back and forth. That's what the issue is. Yeah, but what I was saying before they rudely interrupted me is that, I lost my cousin also. Both cousins that I lost are Doggy Diamond's older siblings, and we all were raised like siblings, we were
Right.
all raised under the same roof. So it's been real hard. It's been real hard because once you start losing loved ones in the families, that starts to break down, and then somebody got to step up and start handling more and more responsibilities. So it's really been a challenge, but I mean, they say the creator don't give you what you can't handle. But it's definitely good to be back with the family, to see the family, brother Ray Ray, sister Farnessa, sister Aminatu, sister Joyce.
And I have to
It's
tell
good
you,
to see
Brother
the
Tad,
family.
I have to also tell you
Yes.
that our viewers have been sending their condolences and love and support towards you and your family while you were away. Every week, they have been showing you and the family a lot of love. So, again, we want to thank our TBT Worldview family for always having our back
Yes.
because this stuff gets hard, as my brother said. Go ahead, Brother Tad.
Yeah. And you always said that, I remember like times during Mother's Day and, just around anytime we talk about the family, you would always talk about how hard it is to move forward without, your mother, and it doesn't get any easier. And whoo, you ain't never lied. But, what I am grateful for is the years that I did have with her and all the things that she taught me to prepare me to live life without her. Because now I keep her spirit alive by drawing on the wisdom she left me with. So it's almost like she's here with me because I remember all of the things. Like death was never off the table with my mother. You know, that was not a conversation that was taboo. So with that, but I guess she left and her favorite nephew is with her, her niece is with her. And we here. We still got work to do. So I got other ancestors working on my behalf on the other side. So I'm really ready to rock and roll.
Facts,
You know.
facts. Shout out to Brother Ray Ray and the BK William Mackey History Club. Always on the front line. Brother Ray Ray be everywhere. Trust and believe that. Especially in light of, trying to continue the education of our people. Um, that is a hard
Yes.
feat to take on your back. And Brother Ray
Ooh,
Ray
ooh.
has done that consistently. So a shout out to them. And I can't wait to do another lecture later in the summer or early in the summer in June on Black women who led slave revolts. I wanted to do it earlier than that, but me being the researcher that I am, the hunter investigator that I am, there is more information on the horizon, and it will be released to us in the early part, or excuse me, the latter part of May. And so I am waiting for some more information to come, release of some more archive files that will be available to me the end of April. And so I can do a great presentation. Shout out to the Friends of CMOTAP for having me on their panel discussion last week. Garvey and Dubois, why didn't they unite? And if we face the same issues today. I had a great discussion. Thank you to the panelists for everyone in their insight, whether you agree or disagreed. It was a great panel all the way around. In fact, it went longer than I had expected. And shout out to everyone who tuned in. We had people from Libya, Liberia, Trinidad, Jamaica, the Congo. We had people all over the world who were on that panel discussion with us. And so, shout out to all of you who tuned in. Some of the people who had never heard of Thorough Black Talk before, definitely have become fans of the show now. So welcome, 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 welcome. We glad to have you black here with us. Thank you, Sister Farnessa. She said that was a great panel, Sister Keisha. You all did a great job. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well,
Yes.
sis, I know you rocked it. I know you rocked it. I don't even question it or doubt it. I wish we could have had the footage of when we were with Dr. Africa, the representative of the African Union. I forget the queen's name. Who after she left New York, they removed her because she was on the same page we are on. That we're going to be unapologetic and uncompromising.
Mm-hmm.
you know, and everybody want to play nice with people who's not being so nice with us.
Facts. And I just knew it, Brother Tad. I just felt something that day, which
Yeah,
is why I spoke the way that I did. I just felt the energy in the room. I don't
yeah,
know, but my little African tinglers was tingling. Some people wasn't there for the right reasons. So,
right,
but right after that, as you said, they removed her place, her seat as head of the African Union and or spokesperson for the African Union. Um, and that has set that movement back, in my humble opinion. So again,
definitely,
hopefully we can move forward in the direction that she saw forward, for us as a people worldwide. To have us, even though we have tribal differences, but to be on one accord on how we survive and how we thrive in this world. Sister Aminetu, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate those accolades. In fact, I wasn't always this way, but I'm very nosy. So, in being nosy, I want to know all of the information. Don't give me no piece by piece. I like to know all of the information. And of course, since our history is so rich and so vast, we are all playing catch up. I never stopped learning. I always had an inquisitive mind. We were raised to question and to research. In fact, when we were children, our parents would have us sit at the table while we having dinner and having political discussions, current event discussions. My stepfather would bring home all the newspapers, and we would have to do current events out of those newspapers. So this is something that has always been a part of my repertoire, to want to know more. So that's just where I am with it. Of course, with the BK William Mackey History Club, Brother Mike Graves, the history hitman himself, will be the keynote speaker this Wednesday coming. That is 103 Quincy Street in Brooklyn. And of course, once Ray Ray has the Zoom information, we will continue to post it on our TBT Worldview Facebook page. So all of you will have a chance to check out the history hitman himself. So Brother Tad has been starting some trouble. He coming out the gate. Well, I'll tell you, boy. He coming out the gate. He came back swinging a miss, boy. This whole fiasco, of Will Smith hitting Chris Rock. First of all, let me just say this. Chris Rock would have never made that comment if it was Reese Witherspoon. Will Smith wouldn't have got up and slapped him if it was Adam Sandler. That just wouldn't have happened. And he wouldn't have did it if, as Brother Tad put up, if Mike Tyson was hosting, he sure wouldn't have got up and did that. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Right now. But in all of the goings on, a lot of people, Brother Tad, have revealed themselves with the foolery.
yes,
Your take, brother,
yes.
since you was the one starting all the trouble.
All right. For those who don't know, we're talking about the smack that was heard around the world where Will Smith slapped Chris Rock. Now, Sister Keisha, I love our people, but some of our conscious folks are out of their minds. Folks think we got more important things going on. Say, oh, I didn't know you engaged in celebrity gossip. And like I will tell the people, this is not about celebrity gossip. This is about what value system do we hold as a community when we talk about protecting Black women? And it's very key because Will Smith did it under the auspices of protecting his wife's honor and integrity. And I'm gonna peel back that layer in a minute on what is a wife, you know. However, it wasn't a knee jerk reaction because we see that he laughed first, and Jada wasn't too happy with it. But then she gave Will that look, and he went up there acting like an alpha when we all know that Will is a beta. That's why he's been the butt of the jokes for the past couple of years. So in an effort to reclaim his manhood, he took an easy battle because, like you said, if it was Adam Sandler, he wouldn't even did it because the implications of the consequences behind a Black man smacking a white man is very different than the consequences of smacking a Black man because we know there's little to no consequences, as we seen with that. Security didn't even come and escort him out. The papers reported that he was asked to leave, but he refused. But we see nowhere in the footage did security even approach Will Smith. We saw Denzel approach him. We saw Tyler Perry and a few others approach him. But not once did we see security approach him. And even if security did approach him, since when do you get the option to stay when security says you have to leave? So again, there's no repercussions when you assault Black people, and we know that in our community. Now, why do I bring that up? Because we always applaud violence when it's not necessary, depending on whether we like the person or not. But we always say we got to stop senseless violence. Now, sis, you from Fort Greene, I'm from Bed-Stuy. We know tons of people that have been murdered or went to jail behind, quote unquote, protecting the sister's honor. And I'm not against that. But how do you defend the honorable of dishonorable people? How do you defend her honor when we know that she publicly humiliated Will Smith outside of her relationship with her son's friend, outside of all of that? Just the constant comparison with Tupac, just by her going publicly how she's not sexually satisfied with her husband. So many ways she's emasculated this man before the Oscars. We're not even talking about that part. We're talking about an effort of a beta man trying to prove to his wife that he's an alpha male, which he failed miserably at. But in our community, sis, we got people celebrating a beta male trying to play the role of an alpha male. But when the real alpha male step up, it's called toxic masculinity. We got to start getting our language right, and we have to be on one accord on what's a real value system. Because if Chris Rock was really about that life, Will Smith would pay with blood behind that, because that was a sucker punch from a literal sucker. I'm all for defending your wife. Please make no mistake about it. But there's a time and a place for everything, because he could have jeopardized his whole career. He could have jeopardized his freedom and had to spend the night in the bullpen. Had it been anybody else, had it been you or I that just walked up on the stage and slapped Chris Rock, they'd immediately escorted us out and took us away in cuffs. But because of Hollywood privilege and them being puppets, they have some semblance of power and privilege to do certain things and just get away with it. But when we speak of Jada, it's almost like Black men can't call out Black women on their bad behavior. And that's contradictory. Because as I pointed out before, what's his name? Kevin, Wendy Williams' husband, Kevin.
Yes.
I don't support
Kevin
his
Hunter.
behavior. Right. I don't support his behavior. I don't know no brothers that do. Mary J. Blige, ex-husband Ken Do. We don't support his behavior. Faith Evans' husband, what's his name? Stevie
Todd,
J.
whatever. Stevie
Stevie
J.
J. We don't support his behavior. So don't act like brothers don't call out other brothers when they're wrong. But it's almost taboo if we call out sisters. And that's why I appreciate you, because you can call them out without being called a misogynist or whatever, or saying you won't protect our community. Because that's the lie that's been said to me. Or you must be somebody who wouldn't protect our community. So I don't know if you saw a post, but I put a post asking people, asking sisters, how many of y'all have I defended or felt safe in my presence or even saw me defend people? And some of these people that chimed in are from my street days where felonies were committed, all in honor and defense of Black women. So when people say that, You and I do the real work. We do the legitimate work across the board. Whether we're raising funds for organizations, whether we're sharing resources, whether we're educating our young people, whether we're taking trips out the country to educate our brothers and sisters across the globe. We do this for real, not just on Facebook and Instagram. In fact, I got a call today about Africa. Uh, Shout out to Mama Eileen. She gave me a call because you needed to be vaccinated to visit Ghana. And she told me, I think this week they lifted that. They lifted that. So you no longer have to be
Trip
vaccinated.
is on.
Got to take. So now it's open for us to go back again. And she showed me some other stuff, like, the because I told you they're constantly building in Africa. So there's a few places that's already built and developed, and there's other brothers and sisters that I've been in communication with that's already have the land and work. So we can ready go back to Africa and stronger than before. But again, we're working from the community to the continent. I'm tired of people asking or saying what we would and wouldn't do when we have a track record to prove that we've done all of this. We've done all of this.
Facts, Tad. That's why I just, it's like the movie Madagascar with the penguins. You just smile and wave. Because, we don't have to, I don't have to, you don't have to, Ashay doesn't have to, Black doesn't have to. We don't have to get on a high horse. We know who we are and know what we've done. So when I saw the comments under your post, I'm like, first of all, let me put this glass of wine down. Am I drinking too much here? Or have people lost their damn minds?
Right.
So I was gonna get into it. I was like, nope, he got it.
Yeah, I got it.
I'm stay back because this is crazy. This is crazy. And like you said, first of all, let's get into it.
Yes.
I don't comment about anybody's marriage
Right.
because I don't know what's going on in that union. That is their business, unless you ask me. If you ask me to get into it, then I'm gonna get into it. But it's so, and even that, it depends. But anyway, as you said, it could have been handled different. If his wife felt a certain way, I personally would have preferred if my husband wait till after it's over with and have a conversation. Now, and during that conversation, if Chris would have got lippy about it, then Mr. Forrester would have backhanded. But it wouldn't have been on stage for everybody to see. We're gonna do this around the corner in private. So anyway, and then I want to know where was all this energy for the white dude who was sleeping with your teenage daughter? Where is all of this energy when white comedians made commentary about, his wife? Where was that energy at? We didn't have none of that. That's what I want to see. Don't. How old is Chris Rock? Like 60 years old? Like that don't phase me. That don't phase me. Two, um, as you said, mm, because I don't want to be disrespectful, but I have to tell the truth. So I'm gonna do it in my own way. How he sees her is how he sees her. You know, I personally wouldn't give two F's about a mate of mine who slept with my child's best friend in my house. I could care 2 cents. As a matter of fact, if it was me, I'd be like, throw some more jokes on it. But that's just me, you know. I will not tolerate such a thing, but some people do. The same thing happened with Morgan Freeman, who I don't hear a lot of people talking about, but he
Right.
did the same thing. He slept with a step granddaughter and then ended up in a relationship with her, which is a whole nother thing. But people in their shenanigans, you know, you weren't here in the last few weeks. I was talking about even the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey. You
Mm.
know, his marriage to Amy Ashwood was short. During their divorce
Now,
proceedings,
now,
there
is
was
that
a
the
lot.
first Amy? Is that the
Yes,
first?
yes.
Okay.
There was a lot of argument and name calling publicly that they both did. In fact, The second Amy was the maid of honor to the first Amy. Now, how shady is that?
Sis, I'm
However,
always learning something from you. That's kind of, see, the messiness.
so
The messy.
I don't. That's why I don't get involved in stuff like that. If you like it, I love it. That's your union. You like it, I love it. However, as you stated, it could have been handled differently. You ain't really about that life because if you are, then other things would have been called into question a long time ago, especially as it relates to your children.
Right,
So
right.
I don't
We
know.
remember when Willow was it 14, 15 years old, maybe 16, between 14 and 16, taking pictures, posting in bed
Come
with a
on,
20, 21-year old grown man.
come on,
Like, that's who you slap. You
come
slap
on.
the man in the bed with your child. You slap you slap the young boy that slept with your wife, your son's friend that slept with your wife in your house, and made a song about it. Let's not forget he made a record called Entanglement. Like,
Yes,
come
come
on,
on.
come on. And that's what I'm talking about, beta behavior, because everybody's talking about that's an alpha thing. No, you fighting the wrong battles, my brother. You taking on the easy battles because that response you got is what you knew you would get. You wasn't getting no smoke from Chris Rock. Chris Rock said in tons of interviews he cannot fight. Put me in a movie, I can fight. Real life, I can't fight.
Facts.
You know,
Facts.
but it was funny how when you really look at their body language, when you look at all of their body language, Lupita Nyong'o, I felt bad for her because she felt like she was just caught in the mix.
You're
Like,
like, what
oh
the
shit, what just happened? Because Will was laughing in the beginning, and Jada rolled her eyes and looked over at Will, and all of a sudden he's not laughing no more. Now he's angry. But
hell?
see, he's angry to appease his wife, trying to
Hmm.
prove to her that he will defend her, that he is a man. But any real, and you're a wife, you're happily married, sister. How many years you been married, sis?
23.
Right. You know there's a time and a place to let Big Brother Rohan go loose.
Sure enough. That's why I don't tell him certain things. Because
Right.
even in our work, what we do. If
Right.
I told, listen, my husband would have been in jail and bodies would be everywhere. He is from a family of real shutters. You
You
understand?
done know. You
You
done know.
when
And that's what
you
I'm saying. As a
go
wife,
ahead,
you
brother.
protect him as well as he protect you. Where is Jada Pinkett's covering for her husband? Show me in one aspect in the public sighting has she protected this man. She done disrespected him on I think Oprah's show. She disrespected him at the red table. I believe she did Gail King before. Like so many times, she
Mm-hmm.
always go. She always played the victim. She
Mm-hmm.
always played the victim. Everybody's against her. And then when it came to August Alsina, she's the healer. Well, he was sick. He was going through things. I came to help him. One thing led to another. But when it comes to
She
Will,
was healing all right.
she's a narcissist and she's bugged out. And people don't get that. Now, I'm not a misogynist. I love black women. But wrong is wrong. And it's almost like we can't call out what's wrong. And then when we talk about it within the quote unquote conscious community, the African centered community, all of a sudden, if you speak against a woman who's out of pocket, we hate women. No, it ain't about hating women. It's about setting a new standard and protocol for our community. That's what it's about.
And
What do
listen,
we
listen,
value?
brother Tad. Me personally, let's say the roles were reversed. And let's
Yes.
say Mr. Forrester had an entanglement with one of my daughter's friends. Listen, he would still be counting lumps on his head. He wouldn't even be sitting next to me.
If he survived.
You
If he,
understand? Do you understand? He will still be counting lumps. Oh, I didn't realize I had lumps back here too. Are you crazy? It's just a matter of respect. And two,
there we go.
I know him. You are supposed to know who you with. Relationship, let me tell you something. Relationships are continuous learning because we are evolving people. What
Yes.
I liked at 21, I don't like at 51. You understand what I'm saying? It's a whole different ballgame. We are always evolving. And you have to be open with the person that you're with your evolvement. Because the next thing you turn around and you be like, who the hell is that? I can't believe
Right.
I'm stuck with this one. So apparently he wasn't paying attention or turned a blind eye because ain't nothing going down. Listen, ain't nothing going down here. You crazy? He would rather dig up the bones of all his ancestors than to try that foolishness with me.
And you know what, sis? And you hit it on the head, because what a lot of our folks keep talking about is they had an open relationship. And what I try to explain to people, that even if they had an open relationship, I'm quite sure there's rules and boundaries on who's off limits and who's not. Because I remember when Will was on Gail King. In fact, I was looking at it again earlier to refresh my memory. He said that there was no infidelity in their marriage. And I'm saying, yeah, on your part, there's no infidelity. You may not think so, but here's your wife humping your son's friend, you know. But then I saw a video where Jaden was like, he wanted to be an emancipated minor because of the mother. He said because of his parents, specifically his mother. But when you look at Jada, you don't see pleasantry. You see a hidden scowl behind that smile. You see a damaged person. I dare say a wicked person. And I don't know her personally, but I could read energy. Just like the same time, I think it was in 2009 when I was in New Orleans, and I always share this story. Um, Rihanna was on stage. I was backstage. Chris Brown was back there. I was sitting next to Stedman. Patti LaBelle was sitting in front of me. I was in awe. I was trying to get a picture with Patti. I was like, Patti, can I take a picture? She's like, not right now, baby. So I want to take a picture for my mother, but that's another story. So Chris Brown is he's doing all
We got brother Tad frozen. We gotta get him
yeah,
back in. We gotta get him
and
back
I'm
in.
back. So
There
it
you go.
showed
There
me
you go.
that he supported her with knowing her routine. After she got off stage and she went and got dressed, Chris Brown is talking to Patti LaBelle. Rihanna comes, folds her arms, start patting her feet on the floor. Like, come on, Chris, I'm ready to go. Being disrespectful. This boy sitting here talking to Patti LaBelle. And Patti LaBelle turned around, looked her. My point is that
Wait,
I
say that
saw that.
again, brother Tad. You froze up.
Oh, can you hear me? Can you hear me? I said Patti LaBelle looked Rihanna up and down, folded, she folded her arms, looked Rihanna up and down, rolled her eyes, and kept talking to Chris Brown. What that told me is that Rihanna's the problem in the relationship, because she didn't have respect for Chris Brown or Patti LaBelle while they were talking. Chris Brown was still young at the time, and here it is, this Patti LaBelle. She's the queen mother of the music industry. You pay a certain level of homage to. You should have went over and stood with them and got some of this game that Patty was giving Chris Brown. Because I
Right.
heard her say, "How's your mother doing?" She was asking about people Chris Brown knew. He was excited to be talking to Patti LaBelle at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Rihanna was his girl, but
Mm-hmm.
I saw the wickedness in Rihanna, and I say that to say I see the same spirit in Jada, because they're constantly publicly humiliating these men to the point that they explode, because it's so much layers on top of layers on top of layers, to the point that they can't take no more. So they overreact over the slightest infraction. And what Chris Rock did was a slight infraction. He didn't do it. Regina Hall did. Regina Hall took a poke at their open relationship when she was talking about the COVID test, calling out the bachelors. She said,
Mm-hmm.
Will Smith, yeah, you on my list. Come up here. Jada said it's all right. I can have you. Let's go. That was a poke at their open relationship.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't slap her.
Mm-hmm.
Jada wasn't offended. Will wasn't offended.
Mm-hmm.
But that corny joke Chris Rock told, had Will Smith left it alone, that joke would have died that night. That joke would have died that night, and everybody's legacy would have lived on. Questlove joint wouldn't have got overshadowed. So many people wouldn't have got pushed to the back. You know what I'm saying? With their moment crushed with this fiasco. And that's because Will Smith wasn't mature enough to control his emotions, trying to impress his woman that he's a real man by doing boyish antics. But I digress. Welcome to our brother Black Smith. Salute, salute, salute.
What's up, Black? What's your take on these shenanigans going on out here? What's up?
Okay. I was going to wear. What's up, y'all? First of all, Tad,
Peace, peace,
welcome back,
peace.
brother. Missing you,
Yes,
man.
sir.
Thank you
Yes,
for coming. man.
He
And
been holding you down, brother Tad, while you've been
I
away.
know. That's the right man for the right job.
whatever. Hey, it's always glad. Hey, always glad to see y'all. Peace, peace, peace to everybody out there. My take, y'all know my take. I wrote the book. I exposed the entertainment industry. Y'all
Was it
need
the
to get
psyops,
that.
brother? Was it the psyops?
I believe, man. Well, if you want to say psyop, yeah, because we got to look at this from different angles. Check this out.
Yes, definitely.
Y'all know, Tad, you in the entertainment industry, so you already know this. The Oscars has been losing ratings. I'm talking millions of people for years now, like since 2014, 15.
Right.
Nobody's really watching it. So what wind up happening is, I believe, you a G, bro. So you're gonna know this already. Right when he got in front of Chris, instead of throwing his weight into the slap, he kind of like stood straight and then like hit him with his hand as opposed to his arm and his chest. That wasn't no real slap, man. In the street, he would have knocked that dude out because he was standing straight up.
Right.
He ain't
That's
even
what I said.
braced.
He didn't even fumble.
He barely flinched.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in my opinion, that was a stage event for ratings as well as a distraction, because we ain't talking about Judge Jackson or nothing that's really important to black people right now, as far as that's concerned.
All right. And are we talking about Ketanji Jackson?
Yeah, the judge. Judge Jackson. I call her Judge Jackson. Ketanji Jackson, yeah, same person.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm laughing.
Let me give you game real quick. I asked Keisha about her last week. She ain't even want to touch it. She said, we're going to hit that next week.
I don't know neither, because, our position is like, how pro-black are you when you sleep in white? That's just my position. That's just my position. Do you love black people enough to procreate and make more black people? That's just my position. I could be wrong. I'm not judging nobody.
Okay.
I'm just curious on those positions though, because a lot of times when we get those spaces in those places, they seldom really work in our interest.
Yes, ma'am.
Because we see what their personal choices are, let alone their professional. So and that's what I'm saying about Will Smith. To bring it back, because to your point about that slap, and you brought up a good point, because I just chalked it up to him being weak. Not just emotionally, but also physically weak, because I said Chris Rock ain't even stumbled. So what kind of slap was that?
Not only that, but you got to check this out. In my book, and I have it around here somewhere, I'll show it to y'all before the end of the show. But in my book, I also said that, and we all know this, Tad. As far as before Will married Jada, and maybe up to about 5 or 6 years ago with the entanglement, which was about 3-4 years ago. But anyway, Will, as far as I know, Will never did a humiliation ritual. So from where I'm seeing it, Jada may be his handler, and this is why she put in work on him all the time. That's why I look at that.
You don't see 6 degrees of separation in his interviews after that? Because I know in one interview, he said if he knew what he knew back then, if he knew what he knew then, what he know now, he would have really kissed the dude.
Well, Denzel advised him against it, and he did it anyway.
Right.
I believe he didn't go. Yeah, I believe like Dwayne Wade, same thing. I believe he gave his children up, and this is why he don't have to give up no blood. This is what I believe. I'm talking about the ritualistic part of Hollywood or the entertainment industry, whatever you want to call it. There's a ritual. You got to do the rituals. I don't care who you are. Even the Weinsteins and them guys got to do the rituals. They all have to be beholden to themselves and blackmailed. So if you start, in that field, they call it catching religion. If you ever like get a conscience late in your life and now you want to start confessing all the things you did, you can't do it. So this is why they do that. They make you do the most humiliating things because 99.8% of the people ain't going to admit that they did it because it's so embarrassing and ritualistic to do it. Up to and including raping, torturing, and eating kids.
Right.
So in light of that, that's nothing what we're talking about right now. in light of that.
Right. And we know a lot of this stuff to be true via the Pizzagate situation that went all the way up to the White House, that linked Hillary Clinton, Epstein, Bush's, even my man Hove, linked them all to that private island. And none of this is speculation. All this is documented. And that's why they was hating on Trump, because Trump was bringing this to light. Like, yo, I hope Hillary go to jail. Because they never talked about what was in them emails. We saw ourselves that there were real tunnels in the Pizzagate scenario, leading from one pizza shop to another, able to kidnap these children. We know that these rituals are real. Even with our little sister, who's that, in Detroit or something, that was in a hotel, and then she was found in the freezer in the hotel.
That was in Chicago.
Chicago. You know what I'm saying? So we are definitely not fooled. Even if we look at the Atlanta child murders and things like that, like evil rituals are definitely a thing. So I don't want people to think we just up here bugging out and going crazy, because we're all these people, all these type of tracking devices everywhere.
Yes, sir.
Eyes in the sky everywhere. Even with the murder of Biggie and Tupac, where they had surveillance on them, and when it's time to murder Biggie, all of a sudden everybody went to lunch. You know what I'm saying? Like, how crazy is this? But people don't think that this is real. And I say all that to say that it is a psyops to me. And not in a context of a conspiracy theory, but it's to check the temperature of the community. It's always a test of what is our value system. What can we get away with these people with? Let's test the waters. Oh, it's too hot. We can't implement this plan. Oh, the temperature's cool. They like it. Let's implement this plan. We already knew about COVID coming. Like, if you read the New World Order, if you read the book Illuminati 66, if you read Behold the Pale Horse, all of this stuff was documented, that all of this was going to be done. So it's not no conspiracy theory. It's just that we read more than the average. If you go to the war correspondence, Baba Del Jones' book, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, he talked about January 6th. He said there's going to be a civil war between the nationalists and the globalists. Donald Trump represents the nationalists, and the Democratic Party and the rest of the globalists. But all of this was written and documented. I mean, these are executive orders. If people really do the research, they can find out. And this is not about being a conspiracy theorist. So when we talk about Hollywood and what Hollywood is, I'm going to pass the mic real quick. We got to remember, Hollywood does what? It sells you an illusion of reality, even though it's fictitious. It puts you under a spell to make you fall in love with the people that they're portraying. This is not necessarily them. So Hollywood casts a spell on you. But a magic wand is made of Hollywood, from the holly tree. And when you wave that magic wand, it produces stars. What do we call these celebrities? We call them Hollywood stars. And what do? They put you under the spell that you really know them when you actually don't. Makes them feel like they're your family, or it makes you think that they're the real enemy, and they may not be. This is all mass hypnosis, because it's only one way. It's not interactive. It's just programming. They dictate to you, but you can't respond to them in agreement or disagreement. Only with your support. That's the only way you approve or disapprove. Whether you buy the tickets to the movies or whether you tune into the show, proves whether you support or you don't support. And we got to understand that, to your point about the psyops and all of this stuff, this is a gauge on where, because they asked Ketanji Brown, a black woman, what is a woman? And she couldn't even define a woman. Are we serious? Are we that confused?
You see what we missing, bro? Come on now.
Are we that confused that a woman don't know what a woman is anymore? Like, but this is the mass hypnosis. Because you and I know, as children, when we had our siblings born, when the babies came, we knew the difference between a boy and girl. Now we don't even know that no more. Now we don't know that no more. Come on. And I'm not even going to go into the jabs. I'm not even going to go into the implications of the jabs and Eric Adams, Kyle Talwin, to the elite.
Come on, brother.
To the artists, to the athletes, to the big bucks people. That's like, yo, you're not going to mess up our money. So now he cloaks the conversation in the boosting the economy of the people. Meanwhile, people like me and others that went to work when the whole city was shut down, now we out of jobs because I got laid off. You know what I'm saying?
Come on, brother.
But that's how you say thank you to the people that kept the city running when nobody was out on the streets, and it was literally I Am Legend out there.
Come on.
Hey, Tad, let me go to a point that you made a minute ago, real quick. When you talked about the Hollywood and so on and so forth like that,
Yes.
the holly tree produces a sap that back in the days they used to use as a death penalty to kill people. So people need to know that too. It's very poisonous.
See, we
I mean,
all
one
learn
drink
it.
of it, you done.
Each
Yeah, you
teach.
gone. Yeah.
And look, that's the Kool-Aid they drink. Because they
Okay.
got
Look,
us.
I'll take it.
Death of the
Sipping that
consciousness.
stuff.
Because we're losing our.
We're losing our what now? You freezing up, bro.
Yeah, Tad freezing up.
Yeah, he froze up again. Yeah.
But in
We
looking
messing
at
up. Too
women
much
of
smoke.
virtue,
Too much smoke. We messing up, y'all. Too much smoke. They trying to cut us.
it wasn't me. It wasn't me, government. It was Black and Tad. It wasn't me.
Oh,
I wasn't
man.
saying nothing.
Hey, Tad.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Foster gonna come up as Keisha on camera.
Oh God. He be laughing. He be like, if my wife going to jail, she going to jail in good company. She be all right till I get there. She be all right till I get there. For real, for real. But you know, it is what it is. So I want people to get out of their emotion of it and
Right.
just see reason. Use your brain. Hold on, I'm getting an echo. Hold on 1 second.
I think that's Ashe.
Peace, brother. Ashe.
Ashe, oh.
All right, try to come back in, Ashe. See if it because I muted you and Black. So let me see. Hold on, let me bring Black back. But anyway, if you want to defend a woman, make sure you defend a woman. They trying to clown your cell phone, Tad. Leave Tad's cell phone alone. It is not his cell phone.
I'm about to say that ain't my phone.
Look. They starting with you,
Oh,
Tad.
somebody clown you. You got a 2001 flip, Jack.
Here he
No, that was
go.
the old phone. That was last year. See, they
He upgraded. He upgraded. Trust me, he upgraded.
2005, y'all.
But Sister Amanatu, yes, this one's for you because on Thorough Black Talk we show and prove. So I said last week I was gonna have a video so you could see that Amy Ashwood took a bullet for Garvey, but people don't talk about that. So since this is the last day of Women's History Month, we definitely gonna get into the business.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
without further ado, hold on, family.
Let's get it.
A disgruntled investor named George Tyler pushed his way into UNIA headquarters, where Amy Ashwood was now working.
Amy Ashwood didn't really want to let him in. He seemed disturbed. Garvey came forward, said, "What do you want?" Whereupon George Tyler pulled out a gun and began shooting. Amy Ashwood threw her body between the shooter and Garvey to protect her lover. George Tyler said, "I don't want to shoot you," trying to aim around her. She tackled Tyler and they tumbled down the stairs to the first floor.
Damn.
As soon as the shots were fired, the people on the first floor had called the police. The police came, they apprehended Tyler and took him to jail in Harlem.
As you see, it was the first Mrs. Garvey who took a bullet. And I told you it was the first Mrs. Garvey who put up that bread for it to kick off. It was the first Mrs. Garvey where those first UNIA meetings were held at. And so we have to give honor where honor is due. Now, during this past weekend, it was a conversation, about him and W.E.B. Dubois. Now, again, we talk about these brothers, but we negate the power of their wives and the women around them. Now, W.E.B. Dubois also married twice. Now, the second Mrs. Dubois, Shirley, she gave an interview, and again, there's a great book about her written by Dr. Gerald Horn on Shirley Dubois. You got to pick that up. Put that in your library. You're going to need it. Now, she talks about the relationship Well, before I get into that, do either of you know what happened to Patrice Lumumba's wife and children after he was murdered?
I don't.
You know where they were, Brother Tad?
No.
Well, Mrs. Dubois is going to tell you what happened to them. Hold on, family.
It is, well, I'm trying to say that Egypt is traditionally a place of refuge where people have come from persecution and been received generously. As a matter of fact, that's where King Idris is right now. He's in Egypt. He asked for refuge in Egypt, and Egypt granted him refuge. The children and the widow of Patrice Lumumba have lived in Egypt ever since Patrice Lumumba was killed. The children, the boys, are being educated in the schools in Egypt. They have found homes and refuge in Egypt. In Egypt, now that Ghana is wiped out as a real African state, the main sources, the main headquarters of the African freedom fighters is in Cairo and Dar es Salaam.
Speak a little bit about the influence of Patrice Lumumba and like the assassination song.
Well, I don't think I need to speak about that. I think you know. To try to go into details, Patrice Lumumba was a martyr for what he was trying to do. What else is there to say? His blood is on the heads of the imperialists, and he must be, all we can do is to say, as we would say about Malcolm X, is to carry on. That's all. We have to carry on.
So if you can hear that speech in its entirety, it was November the 13th, 1970 at UCLA. There was a speech that she gave, and she spoke honorably of Patrice Lumumba, Kwame Nkrumah. In fact, she talked about the coup d'etat that took place in Ghana. She gave great detail about that. Also, she talked about Malcolm, her conversations with Malcolm. And in fact, she even went into the so-called rift between her husband and Garvey. Hold on a second, family.
Oh, yes, Nancy.
Right. First of all, I like to say, just being like an ordinary brother off the street who's kind of interested in history, like I'm very thrilled to like see you up here because I've read like a lot of things about your husband, and like I said, it's really a thrill for me. But and my question concerns your husband, and like I've read a lot of things about your husband's relationship with Marcus Hosea Garvey. And like most of these things have been negative. Like maybe the relationship was negative, and I maybe shouldn't even bring this up, but for like clarification and for like a yearning for truth in a sense, I like to like know something about it. Right?
This has to be the last, but I'm really very glad the young brother brought this up because I'm very glad to clear up some misunderstanding. One of the weapons a man uses is to divide leaders and to say that the leaders are fighting among themselves. Still using it, isn't that the truth? So there was big noise in the United States about the controversy between Booker T. Washington and Dubois. big noise about controversy between Marcus Garvey and Du Bois. These controversies never existed in neither case. Just since I mentioned Booker T. Washington, Du Bois and Booker T. Washington wrote a book together. And the book is by, I think Washington's name comes first. Booker T. Washington and W.B. Du Bois. It's called The Negro. I don't think you can find any place, but anyhow, it was published. That takes care of that. Now, about Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey came to this country from Jamaica, coming in 1916, and he set up his association, a Negro Association for Improvement. I've got this in my notes someplace, and I wanted to have the name right, but you know what I'm talking about. And he had a lot of very good ideas, which, well, all right, let me go on. But he did not know conditions in the United States very well. Now, he came from Jamaica. He was an adult. And he came after the First World War. But he was able to mobilize black people in these crowded urban centers where they had to live under terrible, terrible conditions. He was able to give them hope for something better. And he taught them industry and to save their money. Then he wanted to take those who wanted to go back to Africa. Now, the whole movement wasn't a back to Africa movement, and this is one of the misconceptions. He bought 3 ships. These were rotten ships. They never would have got past the Goddess of Liberty. He did not know so many things about corruption, about being cheated. Nowadays, a person who buys a ship, this is one of the big improvements in the United States, really the ships do have to pass an inspection. But apparently at that time, either they didn't have to pass any inspection, or if they did, these were dishonest inspections. They were rotten ships. They wouldn't have carried anybody anyplace. He was never allowed to set foot on any African country himself, because after all, at this time, Africa was owned completely, and they kept him out as an unfavorable immigrant or something like that. I've heard that statement at least too. When he was deported and sent back to Jamaica, he later went to London where he died. And when he died, I'm sorry I don't have with me what Du Bois wrote about him in The Crisis. I will repeat it as well as I can, remembering it. He said Marcus Garvey was a man of vision. His scheme was a bit bombastic, and it was on the whole unrealistic. But this was a good, honest man who was able to mobilize and to bring together people, black people in masses, to give them new hope, to give them new courage, to give them an understanding of themselves as nobody else had ever done. And that what he did has spread throughout all Africa and in Europe. Du Bois paid beautiful tribute to Marcus Garvey.
All right. So, I hope you all in your own time will do a little bit more research on the wives of W.E.B. Du Bois. Shirley, I believe, passed in 1977, March 27th of 1977. And so I thought it'd be fitting that we close out Black Women's History Month with some words from her. Again, that address you can hear in its entirety on YouTube. It is her November 13th lecture, 1977. So again, you can listen to that in its entirety and hear a whole lot more about the work of herself and other great African leaders. Again, remember that the Dubois family traveled the world. I think she died in Beijing, China, I believe, in 77. But again, it's very important when we tell history and when we teach history that we teach all of it, because if we don't, we become stuck. And I think that's where Black people are today. We are stuck waiting for a leader, someone who can talk that talk. Black people will be right behind them. But if we are not careful, we will fall into the same traps. And that's something that I was trying to convey on Saturday, that today you have divisionist practices. I don't have to agree 100% with, let's say, something that Ashe is working on. However, if I see him working and it is in the best interest of our people, and if I'm there to help him, then by all means, I'm going to help him to get his plan into fruition. Unfortunately, you have these people who are stuck in leader modes, want to become dictators and crush their own movements, and then Black people become stagnant, and then we're back at scratch. So we have to study history in its totality, the good, the bad, and the ugly. There were problems with the Dubois. There were problems with the Garveys. But if you only look and point to significant events and highlight significant events, you get lost in the translation of history, because something I've always told people, and even those that I teach, for example, if you're studying about Brother Tad, you have to study everything that was surrounding his life from his birth to his transition. You have to study the politics of the day, the fashion of the day, the music of the day, the politic of the day, to get a whole picture as to who this person was and why they did the things that they did, and then make a true assessment and then progress from there. But unfortunately, we're taught a person, a place, a thing, and an event, and we leave it at that. We all come with hidden flaws. We all have flaws. I haven't seen anyone with perfection yet. And if you find somebody, let me know. And being a researcher that I am, I could espouse that easily. But you have to take it in its totality and then progress how you wish. Just remember that you can't look at great Black men in history and not look at great Black women. Even when we were discussing in the past couple of weeks, women of the UNIA, I mentioned women that I know for certain none of you ever heard of before. None of you even heard their names before, but they were key figures in the movement, even more so after the arrest and incarceration of Marcus Messiah Garvey. Even Shirley Dubois spent time in jail. She got locked up too. It was a whole lot going on at that time. So look at history in its totality, take the best from it, and apply it accordingly to your life and your direction, so that you don't make the same mistakes. Brother Tad, Brother Ashe, your thoughts on Shirley Dubois?
Well, I'm gonna say this. Boy, I love this show because I'm always learning. I come in to share information, but I also sit as a humble student. And now it places more value on what I just learned from her, how she properly assessed what the deal was with Garvey as well as her husband. Because I've been to their gravesite in Ghana, several times. The W.B. Du Bois Center. I think I posted a couple of pictures up. And when people say, oh, in Africa, they don't respect us, they don't like us. Man, you go to W.B. Du Bois house, they got everybody picture up. From Garvey to Malcolm to Dr. King to Bob Marley. But one of the things I love the most is that they have a great big picture of Dr. John Henry Clark in W.B. Du Bois' his study. Because at the center, that's W.B. Du Bois' home. That is his home. And that's why I always encourage people to visit Ghana. If not for the economic opportunity, just for the historical relevance, that's the last time we touch African soil as a group of people as a group of prisoners of war, or just kidnapped people. And just hearing her talk, like I've never heard her voice before, is so profound. And just later in life have I had a healthier respect for what W.E.B. Du Bois was doing, because coming up in our development, we're taught that Garvey is the end all be all, is Garvey or bust. And in our position, our struggle, and I will always tell people this, is different from any other struggle in the world. It's different from the PLOs, it's different from the Jewish groups, it's different from the alphabet folks, it's different from women alone. Our struggle as Black folks, African people in this world, is to restore things back to its natural way. That's all we are doing. We are literally cosmic people, the first people on this planet from out the ethos, who were sent here to represent the supreme creator and put things back in its proper balance. Every religious book you read will tell you that. Every shaman, every mystic. But then I always encourage people, Sister Keisha, Brother Blacksmith, Brother Ashe, always tell people, let's study the great folks. It's all good. It's all good. But now what are we going to do? What about developing the divine greatness that exists within us, so that when we transition, we could go down in the books as people who did what we could, when we could, where we are? It's one thing to celebrate the leaders of the past, but I think it's very important. I learned this from Sister Keisha and Brother Mike Graves. Don't just study what they did right. Look at what they did wrong. Look at what they did wrong. Let's make sure we don't do that, because as Sister Keisha said, we all human. We are all human. Real quick before I pass the mic to Brother Ashe, I always encourage people to watch Roots. Roots is something that you should watch once a year, because every time you learn something new, because every year you should be learning something new, you'll see something in the Roots that you didn't know before. I think it was Chicken George's grandson. Tom was Chicken George's son. Remember, there was Kunta Kinte, then his daughter Kizzy. Kizzy had Chicken George. Chicken George had Tom. It was Tom's son. I forget who Tom's son was, but he had a picture of W.B. Du Bois up. I believe it was W.B. Du Bois. But then one day he came home and took his picture down and put up Booker T. Washington's picture. And his wife was like, what are you doing? It was either vice versa. He took one down and put the other, but he started talking about their philosophies. See, what you said, Sister Keisha, we got to examine the time of the day, what was going on at that time. When you go back and look at Roots, it discussed the position of Booker T. Washington and W.B. Du Bois. They didn't bring Garvey in, but they talked about the position of our leaders. If you go back to the point of Chicken George, they also brought in the revolt of Nat Turner. See, everything that went on in our history, it tapped on the pulse of how did white people respond and what was our position and our response to what was happening at that time of the day. That's why I keep telling people, like, oh, Roots fake, Roots is fake. Whether fake or not, there's all Aesop's fables. We know none of them animals talked, but there's a jewel in every wolf in sheep's clothing, right?
You freezing up, Tad. They messing with you. You dropping too much jewels.
Can you hear me
you
now?
You can't come back swinging now.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yes,
I'm gonna pass the mic real quick, but I'm gonna end this with the Aesop's fable of the wolf in sheep's clothing. See, everybody keeps talking about the wolf in sheep clothing as if the wolf won, like the wolf was able to get amongst the sheep, but he got amongst the sheep. But guess what happened? The shepherd was looking for some meat. He went to get some wool and some meat, and the wolf was in sheep clothing, so the shepherd grabbed the wolf and killed the wolf. The wolf died. The wolf didn't kill the sheep. So what does that mean? You could be as duplicitous and deceitful as you want. You're going to get yours in the end. And that's something, as we develop our position of leadership, as we try to hide our discrepancies, we got to be honest about who we are in order to move forward properly. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to have mishaps, but we can't intentionally deceive the people neither. We have to be honest about that. Learn that from the good leaders and the bad leaders. And I'll step off my soapbox. Brother Ashe.
Wow. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I would just touch on quickly the importance of independent Black media. Like I said, once again, Keisha always, be bringing the powerful information and the articles and the videos and things of that nature. But in this case, we talking about, you know, somebody that is talking and speaking for somebody else that passed on that's not here. You know what I'm saying? So us, we are forced in a sense to kind of take what this person is saying because we only have one source. You know, we only got that source that is coming from that mouth. You know, so this is why it's important for us to be documenting everything that happens with us, multiple different ways. You know, because even when you hear in the video, the brother, he said he wanted to know, he's curious, but he didn't even want to ask the question. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we don't even understand the importance of these things. And like some people, they might, they get offended and things of that nature. But you got to realize, like, it's greater than you. You know, the things that we living through and going through and all of that is greater than you, especially in the struggle for our race. It's like, you know, we doing this for all of our people. So you can't be selfish in certain aspects and elements of that. And even you can't be selfish and be like, hey, I know it's uncomfortable, so I'm not going to ask a question or I'm not going to say something when it's needed. You know, you got to stand up to the rise to the occasion and take advantage of that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not just for you. But, you know, I would just say, like, I mean, we all got to do some more research and just listen and learn from all of the people that came before us, you know, because we just can't take everything for face value, you know, like we got to have multiple sources. We got to have, you know, multiple people on the scene giving their testimony and things of that nature, because otherwise we just going off of one person. You know what I'm saying? Granted, this person has connections and is a powerful person, but they also got skin in the game. They also got, she married to W.E.B. Du Bois. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's a connection. At the same time, like Tad just said, what do we have to do? We got to be real with ourselves, right? And I'm not saying that that person isn't, but I'm just saying we don't know. We really don't know. So now that these people, these greats have transitioned, it's like, oh, now we coming to the wife of somebody, you know what I'm saying, that was in some situation. And we got to take this for face value as the only primary source. And now this is how the history is getting laid going forward. You know what I'm saying? Just like they say the story of the what is it, Tad? The lion and the lion catcher or something like that.
Yes.
They say until the lion tell the tale, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna glorify the hunter, right?
Yep.
Well, in history, it's always glorifying the person that documents the history.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's what it's about. So we got to be up on it and just make sure that we are being the natural orators that we are, you know, in that African spirit of being a griot and carrying on a tradition through not only word of mouth and, you know, storytelling and things of that nature, but actually documenting. And now we're in the information technology age, YouTube, we got all of this stuff, you know what I'm saying? But we got to have multiple people doing it, multiple sources, you know, so shout out to all of our other independent Black media, everybody else that got podcasts, YouTube, and doing stuff for Black power, you know what I'm saying? Because it's very important. And we can't sit up here and just get, you know, cocky or get selfish or whatever and say, oh, it's thorough Black talk or nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because like Ty just said, some people thought back in the days it was Africa or nothing. You know what I'm saying? And even the Queen Mother just said they thought it was Marcus Garvey was telling people just go back to Africa when that was just a part of it. You know what I'm saying? He had people that didn't want to go back to Africa. You know, yeah. So the whole full spectrum got to be put out there for the people, and we got to have this as tradition, as something that's you know, a subconscious thing that we doing that's just natural, because otherwise our story is just going to continue to get whitewashed. You know what I'm saying? And then it's going to have so many agendas, other people's agendas in it, even agendas of people that look like us.
Brother, you hitting it so hard on the head.
Yes.
Because, you know, and not to cut you off, Ashe, but you brought up so many good points. And it makes me remember our brother Darren Sills, peace be upon him. Remember, he did not support Black Lives Matter. He said, if anything ever happened to me, don't let them people speak for me. And God bless his soul. Remember, the police killed him. And who was the first people on CNN speaking on his behalf?
Yeah, Black Lives Matter.
Yeah. So if you don't know no better, you would swear that he supported them, or he may have been down with them. And he was publicly, and he was adamant. And he told me with his own mouth, when We was down in St. Louis. We was down in St. Louis, Missouri, and that's when I met the brother down in St. Louis. See, a lot of people don't realize that, Sister Keisha, Brother Ashe, Brother Blacks, that we traveled. We met these people. We sat at the foot of elders. We stood side by side by real activists. This ain't just blowing hot air. We for real with this.
I know,
brother.
I know.
Brother Ashe said, and he hit something else on the head too about Garvey. Because what many people don't know, I believe Garvey owned most of 135th Street, right there on the same block as the Schomburg. The Schomburg. Why? Because when people fled south, they needed somewhere to live. So he bought property in Harlem. You know what I'm saying? Like, he really put a lot of things in place. Like Ashe just said, it wasn't just go back to Africa. But even the people who holler and go back to Africa, not enough of them been to Africa. Now the border's been open for decades. What are we waiting on? What are we doing? But they'll be the first ones to get on social media and say what we need to do as opposed to what's actually being done. Ashe, you done laid it out so smooth, bro. I had to jump in there with you because you hit so many dope points.
You did, bro. You stepped on that one, bro. Real talk.
That's right, Tad. He had factories, shipping companies, manufacturing black dolls for black girls.
The Black Cross nurses.
Yes, and he used to have ads in his paper, advertising that black girls should have black dolls. So, and he was selling them. I think the price was 29 cents, if I'm not mistaken. But even and I'm a cigar smoker. They made cigars. You and I ain't made cigars.
I never knew that.
I didn't know
yes,
that.
Indeed. Yes, indeed. Wow. I got all the ads, all the newspaper clippings, but from the archives, of course. But definitely. So we moving right along.
Okay.
The shenanigans. Continuing from last week. Listen, all of these metropolises who refuse to rehire black workers, who were on the front line, not just black workers, all workers who they claim were heroes. That's what they said. I'm just repeating it. What they said. Now, like here in New York, they're refusing to hire them back. Now, I've always said, number one, it starts with the voters. If voters could be penalized physically for the choices they make, as far as candidates are concerned, you would do a little bit more research into the people that you're voting for. Two, these unions are useless. And then there must be a class action lawsuit on behalf of its members because they are not representing the best interests of their members. Three, the reason they are not going to rehire them, and I said this before, when the Afghans were released into the U.S. in major cities, now you got the Ukrainians in there, right?
Yeah.
You need some people from the border. They need jobs. And guess who's going to give it to them? The same representatives that you elected. For example, you have right here in New York City, Mayor Adams, newly elected Mayor Adams, who was supposedly Ukrainian activist, whatever the hell that means.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's having conversations and he's talking about we're welcoming, we have to support them and so on and so forth. Meanwhile, the people who have been living in NYCHA housing for decades are still living in slum conditions. Not a mumbling word. So those monies allotted that could have been used to upgrade NYCHA housing, guess what? It's going into the pot for housing for these people coming over. And all of them jobs that they ain't going to rehire for, they got to have some place for these people to work. So now you see what the big picture is. I'm just waiting for a black law firm to take on these cases as class actions in every city, even private employers. We are rolling every chance we vote, we rolling ourselves backward to the killing fields. I'm telling you, that's what you're doing. Without even knowing it, that's what you're doing. Brother Black, your thoughts on what's happening?
Man, that's a crazy situation. Like you said, where I'm at right now, I've seen the Afghanis. I've talked to a few of them. And I'm like really wilding out because they literally got here yesterday. As somebody who served in the military, doesn't have any felonies on his records, and has lived for years in homeless shelters, I am offended that these people could come here and never have to deal with. They're not even vetted, yo. They're not even vetted. For all we know, these dudes know how to plant dynamite and blow up whole cities. They might have the smart bombs. We can't forget about, the stuff we really don't talk about as Black people, because they living in the hood with me. They just got here yesterday. I don't know who these people are. And nobody else does, or it seems so.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, talking about giving people at the border $450K because you separated them at the border and they don't know where they at when they find each other. They sitting on almost half a mil, half a M. Where's that coming from? How do we even? But then, okay, so then you know what calms me down when I hear that? If you believe or not, I don't ask anyone to believe or agree with me or what have you. The trick bag is in the end game, wherein those people might be third, what do you call it? Triple crosses. Okay. It was said back in the days that you got to remember the Pope wears 2 crosses on his shoes, and he was going to triple cross, and that Israel would be defeated. This is all happening, if you want to take that metaphorically and put it into our little situation right here, or in the world as you see. Supposedly, the last time I seen the Pope, it was when he disappeared in the window, when he waved at the crowd, turned around, and like within seconds he disappeared. I don't know if y'all see that video. Yeah.
But to what you're saying, the government knows exactly what they're getting.
There you go.
With these Ukrainians coming in here. Now, this is from, and I gotta give respect where respect is due. Shout out to TD Media for putting me up on this. Now, this comes from the Peace Corps.gov. This is government.
Yep.
Okay. For volunteers who are Black, like us.
Talk about it.
In Ukraine. It says volunteer voices. People of color face many challenges living in Ukraine as a Peace Corps volunteer. However, African Americans will confront far more complicated issues. For modern parts of Ukraine, African Americans are part of the community and day-to-day life. However, there are many Ukrainians who have never seen a Black person before. Right. Okay. Their understanding of African American culture is fueled by the media and African stereotypes. You will generate lots of interest and curious stares. So, these stares can make you uncomfortable and annoyed. Ukrainians' initial perception of you may be that you are from Africa. It may not. It does help if they understand that you are an American, and the training in the Peace Corps will help you to consider ways that you will engage these assumptions. Now, here's a quote from the Peace Corps. It is not uncommon for Ukrainians to refer to African Americans as N-word. Volunteers of color may be called a monkey or may see children's games with blackface. Being aware of the history of dehumanization of people of African descent may help inform where this comes from. It does not justify it. It will be at your discretion to determine the intent. No matter the intent, staff recognizes the impact that hearing the word may invoke hurt and anger. If you view it as unlearned, something the person has never been exposed to, which is a lie, it may be an opportunity for you to educate that person. We are here to support your successful service, and these comments and images can be a huge distraction and obstacle to you. Know that the Peace Corps staff is here to support and encourage you. Do not hesitate to remove yourself from such situations. You are not expected to be subjected to such treatment. You can also find support and understanding from other African American Peace Corps volunteers in Ukraine. So now, the government knows about these right wingers and these militias in Ukraine. Now they can smooth that commentary off all they want to. We said here last year how these white nationalist groups, when they get caught, where they flee to, Ukraine. However, they just open arms. The government just open arms, just let them all come in here. So what are they saying to us? What is the Democratic Party saying to you, you black voter who put them in office? Well, this is what you're probably going to have to deal with when they come here.
Right.
So we should just take it.
Right.
So again, Mr. Eric Adams, what is your message to black people who put you in office, by the way? What are you saying to them while you rolling around the city with a so-called Ukrainian activist, whatever that means? This is crazy. So, go ahead, Brother Tad.
It reminds me of 100 years ago. 100.
Damn, he keep chipping
the
in
European sent enforcement when they told them, when they
chipping.
sent for the.
They messing with you, Tad. They messing with
you. Damn.
But I'm just saying, you see all of this that's going on. This came from the government, not me. This from their website. So how could you just open your arms and just let anybody come up in here? We already got white supremacists. This is what the FBI said, that police departments and other areas of government are infested with white supremacist groups. Now, they're going to put some more in the fold because, of course, they're not rehiring their workers in all of these democratic cities. Now you're going to have more of them on the inside. Now, when you, as a black person, Brother Black, who stated earlier, someone who has fought in the military, needing services, now you have to sit with them and they decide.
And what I was going to say,
hey Tad, let me say something real quick. I don't want to forget real quick. Right before I put right before the show came on, I was listening to a radio show, and he had mentioned it was something you said a second ago, and I blew my eye. I forgot what it was. I'm gonna get back to you as soon as I remember. Go ahead, Tad. My bad. Tad, you there? I think he's froze again. You hear me?
No.
There you go.
Hello?
Now the internet is acting up.
Yeah, they wilding on you, bro.
Yeah, they wilding on me because I done shut off every device that was connected to the Wi-Fi. Every other device. These people ain't. But what it is, right? We know who they are. Remember on our other show. Our other show, they was even more.
There you go.
We had all kind of problems.
Yeah.
That's why we came over to stream, y'all, because we had so many problems before. But this is what we're going to have to deal with, family. So now all of these jobs, even in the private sector, are going to be given to these people. Because in the private sector now, you're going to have some kind of tax incentive to do so. And I hate to keep saying this, but black folks, you voted for this. Not one local politician, state level or federal level, black that is, have made any commentary to these white nationalist groups that are in the Ukraine. Now, a couple of weeks ago, remember, Brother Black, we talked about the black doctor from Detroit who was going over there to fight.
Yeah, that dummy. I hope he over there is half dead already. Dummy. You a dummy.
We just was talking about this fool. So how could you do such a thing? But again, it is what it is, family. It is what it is.
The people that like that fall victim are the ones who are so convinced that white folks are good people. Those are the ones. I mean, you just, Uncle Ruckus is basically, without the exaggeration. That's what else can you say? The guy on the cover of the certified I don't remember the name of the whole book. The Certified Uncle Tom.
So I have that downstairs as well.
Oh, come on. That's a classic all time.
Yes, must have that in the library.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I was gonna. Y'all got me now, right?
Yeah, you in again. Hopefully.
All right. Hopefully, right. What I was gonna say is 100 years ago. Remember this country sent for the Europeans. They sent for the Southern Europeans only to combat our numbers and to disrupt the consciousness that was happening within us. Remember, they said, send us your sick and huddled masses, and tried to replace us. And that's what we see is going on right now, because remember that they are zero rate and we constantly reproducing and multiplying. And remember, the blacks around the rest of the world is watching what do we do to set the temperature for the rest of the world. And what this is a strategy that they used a century ago against us. That's why they bring in the Afghans. That's why they bring in the Ukrainians. I think the brother you got ripped off just put in there, you know what I'm saying? These are Nazis, which we know they are. You know what I'm saying? When we look at World War II, that was one of the strongholds. That's why so many of them jetting to Germany right now. Right. I mean, this is multi-layered, and it is our tax dollars that is funding and financing our own genocide. And we got to be mindful of all of this, because sure enough, as they talk about this wealth transfer, they still broadening the wealth gap for us here in the States. And we really got to get on code and start thinking as a group and stop thinking like individuals. Other groups are coming as groups, not as individuals. They're bringing them in by the tens of thousands, by the hundreds of thousands, not one or two people coming, not us four could come in and, and they're coming in droves. And with this mindset that we are less than, and I express to people to bring back to Will and Chris Rock, we normally in our community on poverty. But when you got 2 millionaires acting like they little corner boys, what do that say about us? It further perpetuates the narrative that no matter how much money we got, no matter where we at, we don't know how to act. We're savages, we're animals. And this is in their narrative, though. Not saying I agree with this, but in their narrative, this is the justification of violence against us. And this is why they do it with impunity. No consequences whatsoever. And I just want to get that before they shut me off again.
I want to ask Keisha a real quick question. Keisha, where Chris Rock from?
Unfortunately,
he from South Carolina. He moved to Brooklyn. He wasn't born and raised. He wasn't born in Brooklyn. I looked it up because I'm like,
he was born in Brooklyn. Cut it out, bro.
Nah. He was born in South Carolina. Google
Cut
that.
it out.
Thank you, Ted. Thank you for that clarification.
Cut it out.
I'm like, that wasn't even a Brooklyn move. He just stood there.
I'm the only one representing again tonight.
Oh man, here we go. Here we go.
All right, so what boxing champ come out of the Bronx?
I ran Barkley.
Hey.
Oh, y'all forgot about him. See, come on now.
Who he beat?
Where hip hop started.
Who he?
Brooklyn.
The DJ Flowers in Brooklyn in the Bronx swagger jacket. Stop it.
Brooklyn
we love his domestic
came and jacked it.
In the Bronx.
Okay, I got it. I'm outnumbered right now.
I'm gonna be in the Bronx on Saturday. Y'all pray for me too. I got to be up there. You know, the show is back on with Stephanie Mills and Howard Hewitt. So I'll be back in the Bronx on Saturday. They're gonna honor my tickets that I'm doing 2019.
I'm telling on you, I'm snitching. I'm telling them you hating up there.
Bring it. I'm the right one for it. Bring it. If you think Ashe went uptown, bring it.
You think Ashe went uptown?
Hey, real quick, y'all. Hey, Tad, are you going on the hike next in a few weeks?
Say it again.
Are you going on the hike?
Where at?
Oh, he don't know about the hike.
Yeah, they're gonna tell you about it. I just wanted to ask while I thought about it for a second.
Shirley Chisholm?
Sister Marcia and her students.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Hiking where? A mountain?
Breakneck.
Upstate New York.
Hudson Valley.
Hudson Valley. How many miles?
I don't know. I was asking because you haven't been on the show in a while. She came on the show about 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it's been so long since I've done it. When I did it, it was in 2012.
Okay.
So again, it's been a minute.
Already.
But, I wanted to show this clip real quick, this article, this ad, just so y'all can see that they even made cigars. Trust me, I got all kind of article clippings. But yeah, and it was on 135th Street, Brother Tad.
Wow.
You know. So again, UNIA was making moves without a shadow of a doubt. They was doing things for real. But again, moving right along. Moving right along, you know, it's been said that Black people in the Americas are the worst of the lot. Have y'all seen that?
No.
Have y'all seen that? Y'all
No.
ain't seen that on Twitter?
Hey, Tad ain't, excuse me, Ashe ain't said enough. Ashe, what's your take on that?
Take on what? You said Black people are the worst of what?
Yeah, what Keisha said.
Who said that?
It was going on Twitter all last. Listen, I'm usually late to the game. I know it, y'all ain't know.
I got to get my Twitter game up. I ain't been on Twitter like that.
Until last week when we had to pull up in that meeting, they was talking about nothing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. That's the last time I was on Twitter, Sister Keisha. They was talking a bunch of nothing.
I'm not on Twitter. It's to the point.
I don't know. I don't know nothing about it either, Keisha. So I can't talk about it.
I don't even follow everything that's happening right now. Honestly, like I'm about, you know, building and retaining my energy. You know what I'm saying? It's too much stuff going on right now in the world. It's too much people talking about Black people. It's too much aggression against us. It's too much aggression that we put on ourselves. You know what I'm saying? That if you follow and tap into all of this stuff every day, like you ain't gonna get nothing accomplished. You know what I'm saying? And not only that, you're gonna be stressed out. And you're gonna end up having a goddamn heart attack. I mean, even if you look at, I don't even want to, that's why I'm glad I didn't even have to talk about this Will Chris Rock thing. Because I don't even want to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Because even like online, like I'm not even online like that no more. I pop in here and there. When I pop in, I see other people that's supposed to be Black power, they arguing with each other. They unfriending each other. They threatening each other, wanting to fight, meet up with each other over Chris Rock and Will Smith. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and now it's to the point where like, it's even stuff Keisha, because Keisha, listen to audience, she sends us stuff all the time. Like you see how she pulls up articles and videos and all of that for y'all. Trust me, we got years worth of this stuff in the text message just from Keisha texting us all the time. You know what I'm saying? So with all of this stuff that's going on, like if you literally paid attention to all of that stuff all the time, you know what I'm saying? Your energy will be depleted. You know, you got to balance that out. You got to figure out when to stick and move, dip in and dip out. You know what I'm saying? And really focus on your life, you know, because I see like a lot of people, they don't even got their life together, but they could tell you more about Marcus Garvey. They could tell you more about Dubois. They could tell you about every single person on their bookshelf, but they don't even got their life together, family. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm at a place where in my life, I'm 36. I'm on my G day about to come up next week. I'm about to be
next Tuesday, right?
Tuesday, yeah. Tuesday.
Uh-oh. I know my family. Stop playing.
Yeah. Listen, fam, like I'm making moves for myself, you know what I'm saying? And I'm helping other people, but right now I'm helping the people that is in my vicinity. You know, the people that I deal with, the people that I got access to. Like I don't put too much energy into this online stuff. I don't put too much energy into, I used to, you know, a couple years ago, I used to be in tune with that and tap in with that and all of that. But listen, fam, people put in all this energy to this online stuff and then walk past the people they see every day. Walk right past them. You know what I'm saying? Walk past their goddamn family members. Walk right past them.
Yeah.
And then you got the nerve to talk about, some people, they say, oh, yeah, well, the people in the conscious community is closer than my goddamn family. Closer to people in the fake conscious community than you are with people in your family. Then that means that you got some work to do. That sound to me like you gotta go and get with your family and spend more time with your family.
Come on, Ashe.
In a goddamn family, you can't just step back and be like, oh, unless it's violation. I mean, everybody knows somebody that used violation, you crossed a certain line. But if you're talking about petty disagreements, you know what I'm saying? You definitely got to spend more time with them. Get your ass off of the internet. Stop watching Thorough Black Talk. You know what I'm saying? And really take care of yourself and your household and your neighborhood and things of that nature. So I don't put too much stock in all this. So when Keisha says somebody talking about on Twitter and this and that on Twitter, it's like, what is Twitter? Like, I mean, Twitter, like, I mean, what the hell? That's somebody that's come up here typing some things because they want to say, oh, I feel like I want to say something today. I feel like I want to get something off my chest. People got to hear it. You know what I'm saying? Ain't we past that? When we past listening to what people say, we got Keisha to share all the books and the articles of the greats, the elders that had real stuff to say. So real that they decades and ages and generations later, the books is still being published. So they done said everything that needs to be said, goddamn it. So I don't need to go on Twitter and hear what somebody's saying about some goddamn, oh, black people are the worst of this and the worst of that. For what? So that could get implanted in my psyche? So now I can move forward with that energy? Nah, that's not how Ashe move. That's why I chose the name Ashe, because I create my own energy. That's what I'm about. A lot of people don't know how to do that. A lot of people get puppet master manipulated, and people out here, especially with the media and the news, they manipulating your energy. They want you to feel a certain way. We could go on so forth. How many people talk about, oh, these things are happening in the media and in Hollywood and things of that nature to cover up other things that's happening. So now everybody is in the manipulated energy of what's going on in Hollywood when we ain't talking about what's happening in our hood, in our neighborhood. You know more about Hollywood than the neighborhood that you live in. You know what I'm saying? But it's crazy. So I don't really put too much stock in all that, Keisha. Like nowadays, if people want to say stuff, now the way I'm at, I'm getting older now. I don't want no more wrinkles on my forehead. You know what I'm saying? My locks is nice and brown and black and red. I don't want no gray hairs. If that's how you feel, move forward with that energy. Just stay clear for me. Keisha, I was going to say, it's so much stuff you send us, right? But Keisha, I be seeing so much stuff that I be wanting to send you and Tad, right? I don't even send it no more. Because you know what? The nature of the direction of where this country and then black people in the world in general, in the world period in general, the nature of it, it gets worse and worse and worse every day. Every single day we hearing about some article that happened. There was something I was going to share with y'all. I was like, I'm not even going to share it. I don't know if y'all saw it, listening audience. They had a couple days ago this week, they had it was like a high school, some high school in another state, and they had the teenagers, and the teenagers did a walkout in the high school because they were supporting rainbow people, the LGBT or whatever, supporting them. Man, I forgot the slogan. It was like say yes to gay or something like that. So all of the kids in the high school left class to go out and protest the entire high school. And I'm just like, man, like, wow. Like even they had like, even the people that were not about that life, because now they stand in and holding flags and all this again. I'm like, damn. So like, if they got the children, if the whole high school, the whole goddamn school, the children, see, these people know exactly where to target their stuff with their agenda. They go directly to the goddamn children. This TV show that everybody's talking about, Euphoria, I never watched a goddamn episode of that in my life. But I already know that it's about high school kids having sex. That's what the whole premise of the show is. And guess what? That's like the #1 top show right now, Euphoria.
Wow.
You know, so I mean,
never heard of it.
Yeah, it's like the #1 show right now.
Like yeah, HBO #1 joint right now.
I'm not watching it. But this is what I'm saying. So it's like the direction that things is going in 5 years from now, trust me, when I say, listen, we dealing with some hard times. So what I'm about, instead of watching Twitter and all of this stuff, like I'm trying to build, like physically build. You feel me? That's why I'll be on Tompkins Street and Black Girl Magic and dealing with black businesses and doing stuff. And I'm working on stuff that I got going on for myself. You know what I'm saying? Because I want tangible results. You know, I'm tired of like we do this show, Thorough Black Talk, and that's great because we reach the masses and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, when we had our event, I ain't see nobody from the goddamn show pull up at our event. Real talk. I ain't see nobody from the or who anybody from. I mean, people that I deal with, that I rock with from Tompkins, from Bed-Stuy, from all over in real life, they pulled up to the event. I ain't see nobody from the audience pull up at the event. You know what I'm saying? I don't know half of the people from the audience that watch the show. You feel me? Like, so what I'm talking about is tangible results. If you want real results and you tired of seeing it, you tired of next week is gonna be another goddamn actor or somebody else black in the news going at somebody else that's black, or it's gonna be some other problem, or somebody gonna body a black person and black people gonna get all riled up. If you tired of seeing that, then let's actually do something about it. This is what I'm talking about. You know, I'm tired. I'm at the point where I'm just tired. Like, I'm tired of it. I'm not giving up though, because a lot of the elders, that's what happened. They get tired of it. Some people leave the Black Power movement. Nah, I'm not doing that. But what I'm doing is I'm tired of the talking. I'm tired of the rhetoric. You feel what I'm saying? I'm tired of like if you see me talking, it's gonna be for something specific with a result that I'm trying to accomplish out of that. You know, so this is what I'm doing. This is why I be building, and I'm just trying to get people. While I do the show, I'll be trying to get people that's like-minded to pull up in person. You know what I'm saying? This Sunday, I got something going down, a plant workshop with Priestess Yendez. Yeah, I don't know if y'all know Yendez. She did King Simon's show, her YouTube show. Recently, she was on his platform. She been in the community for years. She do a lot of good work. She's a student of Queen Afua. She went through the whole Sacred Sisters platform, Sister Yendez. She has her own spot on Tompkins Avenue called Ancient Blends. We doing a plant workshop there. People be like, Ashe, you in the plants? Hell yeah, I'm in the goddamn plants. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just one track minded. Like, I'm in a mad other different things. You know what I'm saying? But what I am into is black business, because that's what she do. She sell plants. She sell all kind of other stuff in there. She holds space. She do locks. She do all of that. So she said, Ashe, I know you're a warrior, but like, come on, come get with the plants. She specifically needs younger people. You know what I'm saying? Like, she did the last joint, the last workshop I went, it was older people in it. So she like, Ashe, let's connect. I know what you're doing. I know what you got going on. Like, she see me doing the other events. She like, yo, I really need some help. What did I say? I ain't gonna be like, nah, I don't get with the plants. Like, I don't do no plants and nothing like that. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna pull up. I'm gonna bring some people out, and we're gonna show love and support. We're gonna keep your business running, because I already know she down for the cause. She with the real people. You know what I'm saying? So whatever I could do to help, that's what I'm gonna do. This is what y'all need to be doing as well. Y'all don't need to do exactly what I'm doing, but y'all need to do something, family. And it can't just be getting on Facebook and making comments, getting on YouTube and making comments. You gotta go somewhere and pull up. Or if you can't physically go, you gotta support somehow. You know what I'm saying? You gotta donate money. You gotta share the link. You gotta ask them if there's work. Like I said before, everything is not about funds and money. You can also do work. Some of these businesses, they need help. They don't just need like people that are gonna come and buy stuff. They also need help doing certain things. Anything that you can offer, let's do it, family. You know what I'm saying? Because we love to sit here and talk about Marcus Garvey and all of this stuff and the things that they did. Family, all of them years done past, technology done evolved, the dollar done went up in price. Like, why we ain't doing more than Garvey did back then? Why is Garvey, that was so many decades ago, and we still live in the goddamn, the dream world talking about Garvey, and we ain't have a new Garvey yet. You know what I'm saying? So
that's because, Ashe, like I said before, we are stuck in leader mode. And people are, I'm serious. That's why the church works so well. They still waiting for Jesus. They waiting on the people in Islam, still waiting for Muhammad. They're waiting. And that's why we have to unlearn the things that we've done. But again, as you said, you have to be active. You have to be active. Find your niche, what you do best, and get in that lane and flow in that lane. Be active in that lane. Everybody has something they can do. I think I saw Sister Aminette who said she don't live in Brooklyn, and I get your point, sis. But people have to be active. And I know that you are. I'm not throwing shade. I know that you are, sis. But in general, there are so many things that need to be done. My mission is to destroy the Democratic Party by hook or crook. I
My
pull up
mission,
to meetings. I pull up to this. I pull up to that.
yo, my mission
People
is
on my block,
me, man.
people on my block, we have meetings and discussions. Nah, them politicians can't come over here. You won't see them on this block. They know better. We're not playing over here. Don't come over here unless you got something specifically for us. If you don't, kick rocks and die. That's just the way I see it, because we have been led into a death trap, waiting for a leader and hoping that our vote will save us. And those two things have put us in the predicaments that we're in right now. But moving right along, because I know we got to get up out of here. Brother Blacksmith, it's on you.
Final word time. Yeah, I was gonna ask you before.
No.
Oh yeah. I was gonna ask you to show that little article or talk about it, and then open the discussion. So if you want, you
Yeah,
can
here we go.
get into a little. Then
we go.
ask a question.
Okay, here you go. Go ahead.
Uh-huh.
What's this article about? Go ahead.
So basically, the Black Californians. I saw this article this morning, early this morning. The Black Californians, and now remember, our audience is international, so you may know some. These are the people who are native to California. That's their names. I don't know what their name is in their original language. I'm sure it ain't Black Californians, but these are native people from California who are dark skinned. You know, they look like, and some of them are still there, known as the African American, but they're originally from that landmass that we now call California, are about to get reparations, but you got to go through the gamut. And it says that only 6.5% of the people in that area are eligible. So that doesn't count. I mean, I don't know. Maybe if you can trace yourself back long enough to that indigenous tribe, you can make claims. But I put that on my Facebook page as soon as I saw it, and it got a lot of response. And basically, people are saying, it's not enough or what have you. But late last year, around Christmas time in Evanston, Illinois, right outside of Chicago, also they started giving people reparations. So in dribs and drabs, you start seeing people, what we now know as Black people, African Americans, whatever you want to call people in particular, are starting to get dribs and drabs of what we might call reparations. Now, this has nothing to do with Nasara, Jasara, or any of the things that I talk about sometimes, if you know what I'm talking about. So what I'm saying is, now that we're starting to have precedents, as going into what Brother Ashe was saying, if you have people who are knowledgeable about the law, you can use that to start making claims on the land you on if you from there indigenously. We saw a few months ago that the name of the people was Bruce Beach, and I've talked about this on the show previously. Got their land back, and this is in Malibu, and Malibu is probably one of the most highest real estate area codes in this country, on the beach. So what I'm saying is, if you want to do something, that's just one more thing. Remember, the great Johnny Cochran, before he passed away, assembled what they called an all-star team of Black attorneys who was about to tear the frame out of this mug on some reparations. They had all the information and everything ready. These guys were all trained in civil rights and whatever you want to call that type of law. And it didn't pop off because he passed away. It cut the head of the snake. So
wow.
I tried to cover as much as I could as possible.
Wow. And this is why I always say it is very important to know your family history. It is extremely important. And I've been saying this for the last couple of years. Study your family lineage. Study your family lineage. We have claimed the state, not just here, but abroad. And since this is the last day in Black Women's History Month, The oldest fossils, whether in the Americas or on the continent or in Europe, that were found were of Black women. State your claims, study your lineage. I'm telling you, I said this before. Last month, or excuse me, the first week of this month, I was privileged enough to give testimony for my ancestor who fought in the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a game. We don't play with this over here. We don't play with this over here. And like Ashe said, they could tell you, you got folks who could tell me about Garvey. You could tell me about the great Kushite empires. You could tell me all this and that. But you don't even know your great-great-grandmother's name.
Yeah.
You're doing things in reverse. Again, history is not a person, a place, and a thing. It's the time of the day. Period. So I'm glad you brought up that article. I hope this would encourage people to study their family history, get to know a little, talk to the older people in your family. Start from there. Ask questions. I recently, in 2012, I got a call from a cousin, my grandmother's first cousin at that. I had never met him before. Always heard about him, never met him. Of course, he's way older than me, but in conversation with him, he gave me so much more of the family story. He himself spent a lot of time away from the family, over 30 years in military intelligence, in naval intelligence.
Yeah.
And so he was even able to educate me on how to navigate myself, being the person that I am and the voice that I have to keep the flags off my back. That is why I started studying media law, constitutional law. From that family member, to go back to where our oldest ancestor, that's 5 grandfathers ahead of me, where they're buried at.
Wow.
Where they came in off the ships at.
Wow.
You see, it's very, very important because now we're piecing together branches of the family that have been lost for generations. This is monumental. I don't know anybody who has been able to put their family back together like this. At least I don't, the way that we have. And then to have us, the descendants, get to know each other all over again. My great-grandfather had 2 wives. The second wife, the whole lot of children, 8 children he had, gone. Now branches are reconnecting. This is very, very important, family. We always talk about reparations, but where's your claim? Where's your family lineage? A lot of people don't know. And it's just not here in the Americas. I got family in Japan. I got family in DR. I got family in Puerto Rico. You understand? From the oldest to the youngest. It's very, very important. Study your family because we all are not here forever. We all going to take that mighty trip one day. And as my brother says, who will tell your story? Who will speak on your behalf when we are no longer here? Study who you are just as much as what you are. Study where you came from just as much as the great historians of the world have given you volumes of information. Study who you are because if you are sellout now, that DNA is already in you. Trust me. If you're a freedom fighter now, that DNA is already in you. And your ancestors are trying to connect to you, to tell you what your plight in this world should be. But you can't grab hold of it totally unless you know who you are. Know your family ground, the communities they lived in, the communities that they built, the politics they believed in, the religion they believed in, the behaviors they believed in. I come from a family of freedom fighters, people who broke into armories to steal weapons, to arm their communities and the family. So I'm in line with what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yes, ma'am.
What are you in line to do? My brothers, your final thoughts and comments, Brother Black?
Yeah, y'all. Hey, Keisha, thank you. I mean, yo, I think tonight we dropped the most bombs out of any show ever, as far as I'm concerned. I learned a lot tonight, and I appreciate y'all and thank y'all for that. Deep, hard body love for everything that was said tonight on this radio show. Because of something that I posted 2 weeks ago on my blog site, I no longer have a blog, email, or YouTube because all my stuff was on Google. But I'm gonna rehash everything, and I'm gonna get back at y'all with some things that I'm coming up with on Facebook. I'm Flavius Jones. Y'all know that, most of y'all. Befriend me if you like, and I got the books on deck. I don't have the one that I was talking about earlier right by my side, but the name of that one is Boom Bye Bye, Hip Hop Will Never Die, and it's an expose on the entertainment industry. And in the event Kanye West don't do nothing crazy to supplant, what this situation is, you know what I'm saying? The only thing that I see coming forth is a false flag from the U.S. government because the deep state is losing so much. So again, Flavius Jones, FLAV like Victor, EUS Jones on Facebook. If you want to get at me or for whatever, for books, or you want me to write something for you or any of those multimedia type things, I can do that. If you want to interview me on your show, get at me, what have you. This is my people at Thorough Black Talk Radio. I'm out. Peace to the panel. Peace to the people out there in the world. Much love.
Brother Ashe SJ?
Yeah. It's good to have my brother Tab back, man. The cipher is complete again. We was holding it down, for you. Better days ahead. I know it's a lot of powerful things that's coming. Spring is here. We're about to bounce back and be more powerful than ever. Like I was saying earlier, man, look, if y'all tired like me, family, get up and get active, man. I put a picture up. It's an artist, a black artist, young brother like myself in Bed-Stuy that's going around doing these dope murals. And he did this one piece and it said, how can all our leaders be dead if you're still here? You know what I'm saying? And like, that's deep. It's a simple statement, but it's deep. It's like everybody's sitting waiting for somebody else to do something, family. When you think of that idea and that concept, that's your responsibility. You know what I'm saying? I don't want nobody coming to Ashe. I mean, a lot of people do that. They come to me with their ideas because I'm somebody that naturally helps organize and make stuff manifest. That's why I name myself Ashe. But at the same time, I'm putting that energy back on you. Sometimes I don't even want to hear it, man. I want to be around people that's doing stuff. You know what I'm saying? Not just talking. 9 times out of 10, when I hear all of these people that read all these books, I start to get suspicious. I start to not trust your ass because I'm like, you had time to read all these goddamn books and you ain't do not one action. You ain't do not one action. And most of these people reading all these goddamn books ain't got no wisdom. They got all information and no goddamn wisdom and no action plan. You know what I'm saying? So that's who I want to be around, family. So if y'all like me, please, let's make sure we do some work. Let's better our people. Let's not sit up here and get into silly debates or arguments where we got to fight our family members over what's going on in the entertainment industry. You know what I'm saying? Let's get practical, family. Let's do things that make sense. So many of us done read so many goddamn books. We read the information and took the information and left our common sense in the goddamn book we read. You know what I'm saying? So let's just get back to the fundamentals, family. Yo, that's what I'm on, man. So your brother Ashe SJ, always remember, true courage is knowing how to suffer, and the battlefield is where you stand. Brother Tad.
Peace, brother.
Yeah. Well, I hope you're not suspicious of me because I read tons of books. All I do is read. But no, on a serious note, I mean, I agree 100%, you know what I'm saying? Because we've all done soldiered in these streets in and out of state, So hopefully, y'all were inspired what you heard tonight. It's your turn to go out and inspire others. I'm so glad to be back with the family, in the audience.
Oh, man, he froze him up again.
See, he came back. They said, oh, no. The trilogy is back. Yeah. We got to start the trouble.
Yep.
But again,
you there?
thank you all for tuning in.
Nah.
Be the best that you can be. Do the best that you can do right where you are. Remain active, remain strong, and by any means necessary, keep it black. We out, y'all. Good night.